Hello, this is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 1 of this Let's Play Stellaris as the United Oathsworn, a race of Ursian people. They are space bears, basically. And in the last episode, we just sorted out who this race was. We gave them all the traits, the leaders, did all the naming conventions, the flags, and stuff like that. But now, we're going to dive into the actual gameplay and start playing. So, in the eons since the first primitive Ursian communities took shape on the snowfields and ice caves of Ursula Prime, our civilization has spread and prospered. As our technology progressed to a level that allowed for instantaneous communications, our inefficient nation-states merged together to form a true democracy, with every citizen having a say in important decisions. So these dialogues are actually modified depending on your actual choices. Now, after a discovery of the hyperlane network, the finest minds, the United Oathsworn, have finished development of the first hyperdrives. The stars themselves are finally within our grasp.
Greetings,
Marvelous.
Chancellor. I am Veer, a prototype synthetic intelligence developed by the finest minds of our civilization to serve as your advisor. I shall endeavor to perform my duties with the utmost efficiency.
I'll just take tips.
Very well. I will provide tips, explaining only basic functions and tools as you explore them.
Okay. So, like I said, I have not done... Well, there is no official tutorial. I think that is the tutorial, right, what you just saw. So, that will be popping up from now and then. I'm sorry, but I'm going to kind of need it, I think. So the game starts out paused. This is a real-time game in much the same vein as Europa Universalis or Crusader Kings. You hit space, that unpauses things, and then things move. This is not turn-based. It's time-based. Otherwise, it's kind of similar to Sins of a Solar Empire. You can zoom around in the different planets. So we have started here. We're actually on a moon in orbit around this gas giant. There's Ursula Prime right there. We're currently orbiting around our Arganera. Alright, fair enough. And we can only see the system. Why can't I zoom out further? I thought I could. We want the detailed map mode. Apparently that you should always press that on. How do I see more? Or am I just not allowed? Anyway.
This is our homeworld and the capital of our empire. The planet summary screen, which we are currently looking at, provides an overview of the planet's important statistics.
Okay, so basically on every planet you can see the surface here.
A visual representation of this planet's surface.
Yeah, thanks. Stuff like that, I know. So you get a visual representation, as you were saying, of the surface, and you can drag and drop people around the surface to determine what they are producing. So right now we can get food, minerals, physics research, energy, and engineering research. So you have the 3 different types of research up there. I'll explain that in a moment. And then you want to drag and drop people around, so you can see different tiles of different benefits. Some of them will have buildings on them already. I don't know if this one... Yes. So this one already has a power plant, so it's clearly producing a base of 2 credits. Power plant added, adds it 3, so you get 5. No, sorry. Base of 1, power plant makes it 4, and because it's adjacent to the planetary administration, it increases the adjacent outputs by +1. So +1 food, +1 mineral, +1 energy, +1 energy. So we are producing a fair amount of energy. So we may want to reassign some of our energy production people. Maybe. We've got +3 and we're currently making +5 is the minimum. So we can't really move anyone around there. Minerals are... Well, let's explain things. Credits, they're kind of your gold or your ducats from other games. However, you don't usually tend to actually spend them on items and production and stuff. It is more of an upkeep cost. So you can see here station maintenance -3, ship maintenance -2, building maintenance, etc. Everything you do has an upkeep, and that is what you pay out of the energy credits. It's not so much a finite resource so much as a monthly payment thing. Minerals, that is the payment resource. That is what you will spend to create ships, to create buildings, to create military bases and all that other stuff. Then influence, this is the diplomatic currency I was talking about previously. You get 3 base, and then as you find other people you can rival them, then you get more influence. And influence is spent on a lot of different things. I think is spent on getting new leaders, for example. If you want to do specific edicts on a planet,
These are planet-specific edicts.
yeah, then you can spend it. So these cost 150, for example, and this is less ethics divergence or more migration attraction, so people more likely to move. Their building and construction time and cost reduced. So they're pretty powerful, but they are expensive. Influence is relatively hard to build up compared to the other two because the sources are so limited. Then over here you can see the 3 different sciences in the game. That is the closest to EU4 monarch points, but it's not at all the same. You can see that it's the plus rather than a total storage. You don't accumulate and then spend, you spend straight away. You can accumulate if you don't select a research straight away, but that then just goes into the next technology, which is why it shows your monthly gain rather than your total stored.
The
And then
technology
technology
screen is where we will be directing our research efforts. Technologies are
shut up, is here. So we click on the technology thing and we can see the tech screen here. It looks kind of similar to E4. There are 3 types: physics, society, and engineering. Each of them has kind of an individual focus area. So physics will be it's new buildings, it's new power stuff. Society is to do with the organization of your people and getting colonies and things. And then engineering is construction, it's military things. I mean, physics and engineering have a fair amount in common, though. I think physics is more to do with like shooty stuff, and build. Engineering is more to do with construction. That's probably the better way of explaining it. And you can see here we have 3 choices for each one. There are some traits, I think, which allow you to see more choices than just 3, but the way it works is all the same. Basically, there is a massive card deck of technologies, and it randomly draws 3 of these cards, and then those are your choices. So if I pick quantum theory, then these 2 will probably go away, and I'll be drawn another 3 once we've finished quantum theory. So it's always a choice. Like, if I take physics lab, then I might be denied solar panels and energy storage, or power hubs, for a while. It's likely that they'll come out again, particularly these low-level ones, because they are weighted in how likely they are to come out. And there are a couple of different weightings for that, most of which I don't know yet, because this game is brand new and that kind of information isn't available. But, for example, expertise industry. So this leader, and I'll explain that in a minute as well, is more likely to get industrial-type technologies. So actually, we might want him to be engineering. Each leader has different traits. Research speed, new worlds. So we might actually want to juggle some of these guys around. You can select which leader you want in control of each of these areas, and their traits will affect it. So this guy, research speed plus 5%, directly improves the speed of the research of engineering. So we have an excellent engineer in charge, which means our engineering technology will be better than the other 2. And where is the...
The Empire screen lists the planets of our empire, with leader.
leaders,
The Leaders tab
so this is where you choose your leaders. We currently have the Governor, Raldrim den Piriam, who is a leader recruitment cost, so getting more leaders is cheaper for him. We have 4 scientists, 1 who is commanding our science ship, and he has plus 25 lifespan, which is good because the way to get skill generally, like a lot of skill, is by having them in charge of the research ship. Then we have the research speed plus 5, so he's going to be very strong. The New World research speed. Expert on settling new worlds. I have no idea what that means. I mean, obviously it's to do, but why would he have anything to do with settling new worlds? I don't know. And then research speed for industry. See, I'd kind of like to put him in charge of engineering. Can I do that? Oh, that's permanent. Alright. And then the other thing is you do have a permanent cap. So we currently have 5 of the 10 maximum leaders that we can have. We could hire another leader of any of these types. So a new governor, a new scientist, a new admiral, or a new general. I'm actually somewhat tempted to get a new scientist because I'm not really thrilled about this guy's skill. I kind of suspect that he would be better off on the survey ship than this guy. So I might switch those around. How do I do that? Can I? Ah, that's how I do it. We'll reassign. So, the engineering guy, I want to be the industry person, because I think that's where industry is most likely to fall. Society, kind of doing the roleplay thing here, but we want our best scientist to be on society. This is researching new ways of creating laws and enforcing them, and that is the important thing for the Ursians. And then physics, yeah, this new research guy, or we have leader lifespan. So we're going to put the leader lifespan on physics, and then the science ship
which
is going to be the new worlds person. There we go. And that's how I'm going to arrange that. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then you're the governor of our homeworld, which reduces leader recruitment cost. So we could get more leaders, and they would be cheaper right now. But I'm not going to, because I don't want to spend the influence yet. Does it actually say how much it costs? Ah, so you do get a choice. So influence costs there, so it's 50 per person. So you get better science output on their area of power. So governors are both for planets and for sectors. So if you assign this guy as a sector governor, then the entire sector, I think, would have the engineering output and physics and stuff. Build cost construction time, that's a very nice one. And clear blockers, I'll show you that now actually. So blockers, if you go onto the surface, you can see some of these have the tile, the hash out around them. Those are blocked. You cannot currently use them until you discover the technology required to remove it. So I could, in fact, this industrial wasteland, I can clear it right now. It would cost me 56 credits and 56 minerals. Can't quite afford it. Some of them will require special technologies. None of these do, though. They can just be cleared. So the guy that was the speciality at blockers, that would be easier and cheaper. Scientists. We have a anomaly research speed and anomaly fail risk. Ooh, that's quite nice. So anomalies are things that you discover as you're surveying new territories, and we'll start surveying quite heavily. So this might actually be a better survey guy than the guy that we currently have, the new worlds person. Survey speed just happens more quickly, and you do a lot of surveying, so that's fairly beneficial. And then research speed of voidcraft. Is kind of like the industry research person, so you just do that more quickly. Admirals, better evasion, better sublight speed, better speed. Sensors, you can see further. Both of those can see further. Or the military ones, so army morale when defending, so he's good at defending. General morale, good. Or butcher, it does more damage. I don't think we have any armies just yet, so that's not important. I'm really tempted to get this guy though, because that anomaly fail risk is very, very powerful. You can fail anomalies, and that usually has rather bad side effects. So we're going to grab that guy, and we're actually going to put him on the science ship instead of this person. Sorry, dude. And do leaders cost an upkeep? I don't think they do. So I'll keep that extra scientist around for now, but we can always get rid of him if we need the extra slot. Or if we build another science ship, then he would be a fairly good candidate to work on that. Need to, yeah, survey. Okay, so surveying. You can click on the science ship, which is like its own fleet, and you have a number of different actions. And there are two things I want to look at right now. So surveying, we can order the science ship to survey the stars, planets and asteroids, and that will reveal more detailed information. So we want to survey all of the planets in our home system, so it tells us more about it. And then with that information we can decide if we want to colonize more of them, or if we want to build orbiting stations, like mining stations or trade stations and things like that. Research anomaly is just the same, but going to an anomaly. Fleet stance. This tells the fleet like how they should behave, and we want evasive. So if they come across a hostile, they'll run away, and they'll try and run back to our home, or back to a friendly world. Assist research. You can tell it to basically park in orbit around a planet, and that will boost the amount of research you're getting there. However, you require the technology data bank uplinks, which we don't have. and then you can research a special project, which I thought was
The
one of
situation
these.
log displays the victory screen lists certain conditions that we can strive to fulfill to ensure that the...
But we're not at that stage yet. So science ship, you're basically just going to be surveying. Is that just something I set, or do I have to click on stuff for you to survey? This is the kind of thing I don't know yet. So if we got you to survey that, oh, you will. Ah, and you survey everything there, so it kind of discovers the best route, and then it goes and does them all. Okay, great. So that's you done. And you can kind of see the progress bar there.
This is our construction ship, which is used to construct space stations. When an astronomical
So, as I was saying, as we survey stuff, we might find resources that we want to harvest, and that's what the construction ship does. He builds those stations. So a mining station will cost you minerals, and it will cost you monthly upkeep in credits, but it will generate minerals itself, and different areas have different quantities of stuff that they have a lot of. The other thing, and then I think actually once we've done these, we can unpause the game and actually get going. So I just want to go through this. So, oh, those are in... Oh, these are industry as well. Okay. So we can get the solar panel network. You can tell me what it does? Yes, it generates 3 energy credits. Module. Right, modules are starbases. You can build starbases like... I think we have
the
one.
spaceport tab is where we view orbiting fleets,
This bad boy here.
build new ship.
And you get different modules. So currently we have a projectile defense module, and then we could build more modules depending on the technologies we have. So with that, we can have this starbase producing credits for us. Usually I prefer starbases to be more military, so I'm not going to bother with that. Physics lab, this produces 2 physics, 1 social and 1 engineering tech on a surface area. Oh, one more thing I should point out actually with the surface areas. If I click on the surface, you will see that some of these have... Okay, none of them actually do. And that one's irrelevant, it's different. But imagine we had minerals and food here in this little space. If we did not upgrade it, in fact we'll choose one of the ones that are not upgraded, like this one. So if it was minerals and food here, unupgraded, it would produce both. However, if you build a building there, it will only produce the type of material that that building does. So if we built a mine here, it would increase the amount of minerals we produce, but we would lose any food production that this tile produces. So you can only kind of focus on what an area provides rather than kind of branch out. So you do need to be aware of that. So if you had a lot of mineral and food places and you start building lots of mines, your food production is going to suffer, or any other way around that way. So physics lab, you will only actually produce physics, society, or engineering depending on what's already in that tile. And I think that building a lab somewhere which doesn't have one of those is kind of pointless. There are tiles which produce those materials. And then the power hub produces 3 credits. Planet unique. Oh, I guess you can only build it once on every planet. And it increases the amount of credits that planet produces by 10% as well. That's actually pretty powerful. So you basically build one power hub and then lots of power plants around it. So I think I'm going to do that because I want more credits so I can reassign that one population person to more useful things. We can get colony ships and a new edict. I'll explain that in a minute. So colony ships obviously used to colonize new places, and then this would increase the energy credit production of a planet. In fact, I've shown the edicts already. It was the 3 edicts which Ursula Prime had, one of which was like the construction cost and construction time and cost. This would increase the energy output by 10 years by 15%. Biolab, so this is much like the physics lab, but it produces more society. And then military academy, which increases the construction speed of armies and increases the army damage. Well, we don't have any armies, so I think we're going to go with colony ship because I'm sure that's going to be useful further down the line. And then engineering, so we can increase the amount of damage. I think these are just these are just blanket modifiers. So if we get it, it's for everything. So all of our armies will do 5% more damage, and we will gain plus 5% minerals from everything, which is quite nice. not going to lie. Engineering facility, this is much like the other labs, but for engineering. And then increased spaceport, so we could then Corvette assembly yards, which allows us to build cheaper and more quickly Corvettes on the spaceport, and spaceport level 2, which allows the construction of destroyers. Now, although we can theoretically build destroyers, we haven't actually discovered destroyers yet, so you need both technologies to get destroyers. So right now that's not particularly useful. I'm going to get the powered exoskeletons because I like the idea of the +5 global mineral boost. Right, and there was one more thing, policies, which I wanted to talk about. Is that an empire?
The Factions tab provides an overview of the populace's political groupings and allows us to hear their demands and interact with them.
So these are rebels, essentially, but everyone's a loyalist right now, so that is totally fine. And yes, we do have an overall leader. So we have the Camlan himself, who is an industrialist investor. Now I do wish I could click on him and see what those actually do, but apparently I can't. So when there's an election in 5 years' time, we'll see that again, I think.
All the ships in use within our empire are designed here.
Okay, so you do actually build and design your own craft. So our current military Corvette, which is this guy here, has got a small mass driver, that's the projectile weapon, and a medium mass driver. A small fish and 2 small fission reactors. You need a power to power all the modules here. Oh, we also have a hyperdrive 1, combat computer, chemical thrusters, and ship-mounted radar system, and that modifies the stats of the ship. The only thing which we may change here is we're not very likely to come across many big ships yet, so we might actually just want small weapons. Big weapons tend to... well, everything basically fires at the same speed, as far as I understand it. No, that can't be. Big weapons do more damage against big ships, but tend to do less against the small ships, while the small weapons do damage to the small ships, but less to the bigger ones. You kind of see how that works. It clues in the name. So this ship is going to be as good against medium ships as it is against light. But in the early game, particularly against other empires, we're only going to come across lights, because everyone's going to be Corvette technology, I think. The only other thing I want to do is we do actually start with a military fleet,
used to protect our emerging
which are these guys. And I want to send them to another system. Oh, do we literally need to send them to the system? System is planets not yet surveyed. How do I see the whole system map? That's what I want to see. Galaxy. Oh, here we go. Ah, now this is what I wanted to see. So you can see the different lines between the planets. These are the hyperspace corridors, and this is what I was looking for. I didn't realize I had to actually press M to get to it. I thought it would just keep zooming and you would get to it. You go up to it. Not the case. You need to press M, or the other button, which was M or E. WASD does actually work with this. The first Paradox game, we can actually use WASD to move around. So actually that's fairly easy. Okay, cool. So we are currently here in Ursula. We are adjacent to Markaz, Zowod, Zolton, and Folingar. They all fall within our... no, sorry, these 3 fall within our borders, which means that no one else can build there, as far as I understand. Yeah, only we can build in those areas. That's what the white border is. The kind of coloured outline is where we have explored. So that is what we can see, and then what we actually own. And this here is the sensor line for if we see incoming ships, they'll only appear in that area. Planets that, or areas that we own have this symbol, and areas that we don't. So some of these, because they're within our sensor range, means that we can kind of see them, I think. So this one does have a potentially habitable Arctic world and a tundra world, and we are Arctic, so we probably want to go to Hurlingar and see if there is anything there that we want to see. So we're going to grab our military fleet, we're going to right click over there, and that's telling our military fleet to go over there and have a look around, basically. So we're going to explore with our military fleet and then go after them with the survey fleet to actually check what materials are there. We just want to check for hostiles right now, because it is perfectly possible that you'll come across random aliens and stuff, and you don't know if they're hostile or not. You can also come across the other AI factions that we're playing against, including some fallen empires, which are like stupidly powerful. This is kind of cool, so you can really kind of see where the choke points are. So if there was a big empire down here, you would want to control that one, or even that one, and they would not be able to get past you. Or you would be able to use them to expand into other places, like this one if you were being expansive, would allow you to go this way or this way. Other transport systems don't have this, so a warp speed person could go from here to here. They're not limited by the networks, but they do that much more slowly than we would, although we would have to go dum 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 to get there, while going from here to here we would go quicker than a warp person going from there to there. And then if you were the wormhole, you would go planet, explore, back to planet, explore, back to planet. Then if you built another wormhole accelerator up there, wormhole generator up here, you could go from there to there, and then from there back, there, back, etc. So that's how you have to kind of build up what you can see. So attacking someone with wormhole, as a wormhole generator user, attacking someone is going to be much more difficult, but defending will be easier. I'll just press. Okay. I think that's all that. So time to unpause and see what happens. We're just going at normal speed, so if we press E, we can zoom in here. We should see our, there we go, survey ships zoomed off. It's now doing the survey of the gas giant here. And you can see the progress with the progress bar ticking up. Okay, so this gas giant has got 2 energy. So if we were to select the construction fleet, we could build except we couldn't.
We have found an anomaly. From time to time, our science ships will discover strange things.
So this is the anomaly that I was talking about. Hit space and pause for a second. They have different levels of difficulty. So this is a level 1, it's fairly easy. Plus our guy has the trait which makes him really, really good at exploring anomalies. So during the survey of our home system, we found something on Malgarima that did not match earlier observations made from our homeworld. And then we can basically tell our ship to research it, which we're going to do because failure rate was 0%, so we have a very good chance. If it was a higher level anomaly, then we would need a higher level scientist to have a better chance of finishing that anomaly. How can I see where it is? Oh, it's just on the planet, of course, and there's a little icon there saying this is the thing that we saw. So he is now researching that. Now what I was saying was I could build here in Argira, because it produces energy credits, I could build a mining station to get those energy credits. Oh, it is a mining station for everything, okay. So it costs 90 minerals, it costs 1 monthly maintenance, but it would earn us 2, so that is actually a fairly good investment. But I don't know how that will compare to other planets in terms of output, so I'm going to wait until we've explored a little bit more before we do that. As far as I can remember, this is
updated.
okay. Encounter in Zoltan. We've encountered some form of alien vessels in the Zoltan system. These strange objects have been flagged as alpha aliens because we don't know anything about them yet, so they've just been given a default name until we can learn about them. We should proceed with caution. Contact report, enigmatic spacefarers. The United Oathsworn has finally encountered fellow wanderers among the stars. Despite their intentions being unknown and potentially even hostile, the atmosphere on Ursula Prime, following a report from our contact fleet, is best described as rapturous. Now again, this is a bit of flavour dialogue, which does change depending on your trait. So if we were xenophobic as opposed to xenophile, they would be like, oh, there's foreign bodies in the system, we hate them already, and grrr. But no, we're happy to have found other living creatures. So Zoltan. Was that one of the planets? Where was that? Zoltan, over there. So we can see the alpha aliens. So we'll send our fleet over there to have a look. Then we'll go into Fullingar. Let's have a look. So where was this potentially habitable world? Here it is. Habitability 80%. This is actually a really good one for us to inhabit. It has a 17 planet size, so that means it will have 17 tiles How does that compare to our capital? This one has 16, so it's actually bigger than our homeworld, which is a good thing. It might be better to take over. So we are researching colony ships right now. So once we have access to colony ships, we could send one over there. However, colonies cost rather a lot of energy to upkeep, so we'll need to make sure that we have the capacity to actually do that. The anomaly of the moon of Malgarima shows shows traces of other interstellar travelers. A weak FTL trail shows that someone was here long ago, maybe watching our planet for potential allies. It's too diminished to trace any further. We should continue to investigate these sorts of anomalies wherever we get the chance. Most assuredly grant us knowledge and technology. Okay, cool. So that's basically giving us a tip that we should keep exploring anomalies. Sometimes you get here in the situation log new quests. So for example, we have investigate alpha aliens, which means that we could send... Oh no, sorry, it would put a hold to any society research we're doing right now, which is the colony ships, and they would instead focus on investigating the alpha aliens. And I'm actually going to do that because I'd kind of like to know what they are. We are xenophile. They might be friends. Where's our fleet gone? Fleet is in Zoltan. The aliens have in fact gone. So zooming here in Zoltan. So here, this is a tundra planet. It's less habitable than the perfect planet next door. It's much bigger. It's a 23 tile space. It's very big. So that'd be kind of cool to have.
Spacefaring entities. We can
Oh,
learn more about them and maybe even initiate first contact by completing the appropriate special project.
So these aliens, we just found them. Hello. Where's our fleet gone? Oh, they returned to Ursula. Are they on evade? Passive. Will not move towards hostile enemies, but will engage them if they move close enough. Oh right, we were in... They're on their way to Zoltan. They haven't actually gone yet. I guess we...
Fleet detected.
Are they coming to me? No, they're in fact going to Zoltan as well. Getting a bit busy here. So, our first task force has just arrived. Those aliens have actually disappeared now. We can't see them at all. I think. Yeah, because those are our guys. Move them around on the system, just have a look. These do not have surveying capabilities though, so they won't be able to tell us anything about this system. So I think what we'll do is we'll just keep on moving and just keep on looking around, see what we see. And this extra line here, that kind of shows us that our fleet is also scanning. It's not just the planet, so that's looking around. Right, where is the science ship? Science ship has now scanned that world. It was barren. We got the energy from here, so I think what we are going to do is with the construction ship, we've built up a fair amount of minerals, so we're going to build a mining station there. Unidentified object. Oh, we're already investigating them. Okay. Where's our military fleet gone? They're down there already. They do move rather quickly. Another habitable planet, another Arctic world. How big? .12, so that's smaller. But it is Arctic, so it's decent for us to take over. Off we go to...
Updated.
And here we have encountered beta aliens. Are they hostile? They're red, so they do seem to be hostile. Are they moving towards us? Oh, what's this? There's a space station here, so this is likely to be another main race, or pirates, I think. So we're not going to hang around here, we're just going to keep on moving through. In fact, we'll go to there. It's closer to our zoom out spot, so we only go from here to here rather than all the way across, which is through them. Their fleet is actually much weaker than ours, but their starbase is more powerful, so combined they would definitely beat us. So Oh, can you warp out from anywhere on the side? You can. Okay, never mind. What I was saying about having to move isn't true. As long as you're outside of this grey area, then you're fine. And we've just found even more hostiles here. They are in fact moving towards us, which does kind of suggest hostile intent. So we're just going to move away, and there is yet another space station there. Oh, tab goes to your home world, that's good to know. What I wanted to do was E. Let me out. You. Grab you, and we'll go to here. We're just going to keep on looking around. I'm curious, I want to see what's around us. Okay, so construction ship is building, science ship is still sciencing. Carry on. Hopefully you get away in time. Now, one thing with warp ships is there is a downtime.
Hostile fleet engaged.
Right, so because we are fighting, we cannot now escape, I believe. We actually have to press this retreat button. And we can only do that in 10 days' time, so there will be combat going on. I will zoom in on that when I can. In just a moment, what was I saying? Oh yeah, there is a cooldown between flying. So I believe one of the main advantages of the wormhole is the cooldown is very, very short, so you can nip in, nip out very quickly. However, if you're a warp system, or a warp empire, the cooldown between arriving and leaving again is pretty long, actually, so you kind of get locked into place, which isn't always a good thing. Anyway, our task force is currently in combat, so you can see the alien vessels here, 3 of them versus ours. We have no leader assigned. We probably should get a leader, actually, give him a bit of experience. Yeah, so combat. And we're going to hit retreat as soon as we can. So there you go, they've got lasers, we've got projectiles, we are shooting. They've done a bit of damage to us. We might well lose a ship, but now we're just going to do an emergency departure and off we go. And we've just completed the mining station. So clearly the aliens which are in this area here, hostile. We want to kind of keep away from them. Oh, you went from Quibblers to Tikvat.
Complete.
Not a great idea. Let's run back down to here. Was that a special project complete? It was. So we've done the initial part of the special project. If they possess a language, we must decipher it. Begin researching it. Cool. So this is putting our society research out of action for even longer. And here we go. So this is the information about that race. So spaceborne life forms, which the Ursian head of society researchers come to refer as the Tiyanki, are docile creatures capable of accessing some lower dimension of subspace. They roam this system from system with relative ease, though nearly the same ease as Ursian fleets. They graze on gases commonly in the upper layers of many gas giants. It is highly unlikely, to say the least, that it is their only local food source, but intake of other nutrients has yet to be observed. They will rarely, if ever, attack. Even when provoked, they can safely be ignored. Okay, so we'll ignore them. And the option there, hunting them would be a net loss anyway. Depending on your ethics, you have different options there. So if you were xenophobic, for example, you probably would have an option to literally go and hunt them down. Anyway, that is the end of this episode, so thank you very much for watching. If you're enjoying this series, then please do like and subscribe, very much appreciated. And if you have any tips or advice for me, leave a comment below. Likewise, if you have any questions about the game in general or stuff you want me to look into, that is the place to do it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.